In this episode, I'll talk with Andrea Prue-Bunicki, the Chief Executive Officer at Meals on Wheels for Northern Illinois, which serves suburban Chicago. We'll be talking about the kind of impact Meals on Wheels can have on those we serve, the importance of social connections, and a little about the weather. All that and more with me, your host, Dave Colling, on this episode of Behind the Meal. Hello, and welcome to Behind the Meal. Join me as we delve into the stories behind Meals on Wheels, meeting the incredible people who make it all happen. Today, I'm happy to welcome Andrea Prue-Bunicki, the Chief Executive Officer at Meals on Wheels for Northern Illinois. She brings years of nonprofit experience to her role at Meals on Wheels, including founding her own philanthropy consulting firm. She's a recognized leader in the nonprofit world, and everyone should watch her TED Talk about fundraising. Andrea, welcome to Behind the Meal.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Yes, and thanks for the endorsement of the TED Talk.
Well, it was, one of the first things I found when I was looking up was that TED Talk, and I was just going to watch it for a second, and I just kept going. It was really good.
Well, thank you.
It's engaging. Thank you.
Well, I like to make sure that people understand that when you're fundraising, whether it's Meals on Wheels or it's any other wonderful cause, what you want to tell your stories about are the changes in people's lives. So you don't want to talk so much about what you need as an organization, and you don't want to talk so much about, how much a thing costs, but you want to talk about how the client's life has changed. That's the why. That's why we're all doing this work, and that's the important part to the donors. And so that was the focus of my TEDx talk.
Well, I think it feels like it's one of those things that we all kind of know, but we don't do. Like we know it's impact. I mean, that's what we all want to talk about, the impact that we have on our community and the people we serve. But how to put that sometimes, it just can be difficult.
Yeah. And it can be difficult for a lot of different reasons, right? So, we want to, for example, we want to show Meals on Wheels. We want to show that the nutritious food that we offer, the social engagement that we offer, we want to make sure that people understand that leads to seniors living independently, right, rather than going into an institutional care facility. We want to make sure that people know that the healthy food and the activities that we do in our congregate settings, that really helps our older adults thrive and to live their best life. We want to be part of older adults living their best life. And so we don't always have the data on that, right? So so a lot of the stories that we tell, it's anecdotal, but still powerful.
Oh, for sure. Well, tell us a little bit about the community you're serving and the people you're serving.
Yes, absolutely. So we are Meals on Wheels for Northern Illinois, and we serve the communities that are around Chicago. They're referred to as the collar counties. So if you think of where Chicago is on Lake Michigan, and then you kind of go to the southern kind of southwest ring of communities right around the city. So we serve suburban Cook and Will County, which is where Joliet is, if you need a landmark, and then Grundy and Kendall County. So our whole footprint is about 1,800 square miles that we are delivering about 4,700 meals per day. So we're covering a very large amount of space, a little over 10,000 clients per day or per year, and over 1 million meals per year. Wow. So we're definitely reaching communities that are suburban, that are more urban, and then we have a fair amount of rural communities as well.
Well, what are some of the challenges? I mean, a lot of programs are either one or the other, or maybe two of those, but having an urban and a rural community in your space, and geographically, it's not, it's big, but not huge. We've
Hmm.
talked to some programs that are like, 13 counties wide and have some urban and
Hmm.
some suburban and some, but you're a little more compact. What is that? What does your delivery model look like? And how does it differ
Yeah.
between those areas?
So I should say that we have two programs that we're running. So both the
Hmm.
C1, the congregate program,
Sure.
and the home delivered meal program. So for the congregate program, we call them our community cafes. We have about 27 community cafes throughout our footprint, throughout the market. And most of those sites are also home delivery sites as well. So we have a few cafes that are cafe only. We have one site that is home delivered meals only. But our model really specializes in delivery. So we work with a caterer, a very large caterer, who does a lot of the Meals on Wheels, quite frankly, in our service in our area. And he brings the meals to our sites, and then our volunteers, it's a combination of volunteers and paid drivers, go out and take those out in their like little nodules, like around the hubs of our cafes.
Okay. So when you say community cafe, and are these actual cafes, actual restaurants where folks can sit down and have a meal as well?
Yeah, so there is, so I'm going to say those 27 cafes that I talked about, those could be anywhere from, a neighborhood church to a park
Okay.
district center, but we have a regular Monday through Friday meal at at these locations.
Mm.
However, we do have a really exciting program, and it is most popular in our rural communities. So in our Grundy County and Kendall County area, and that is called Senior Dine. And we actually partner with restaurants.
Hmm.
They put together a meal that meets all the nutritional standards.
Hmm.
And we have a Senior Dine card. It's like a debit card or electronic, swipe card.
Sure.
And our seniors can, contribute a donation toward the cost of their meal. And the restaurants have given us a discount on the meals that they have chosen for their special menu. But what is amazing about it is that the clients can go out to dinner with their family, right?
Sure.
We're all about this fellowship. We're all about friendship. We're all about family and making sure that people have that social connection so that they can stay healthy, stay well, stay engaged,
Hmm.
and so the Senior Dine program has been a wonderful addition to our traditional cafe model.
Do you see a lot of seniors outside of just with their family, but with each other,
Yeah,
make those social
exactly.
connections within their own community?
Yes, yes,
Well, that's a great way. It goes beyond just the delivery person. They're good to see the others as well.
exactly.
No, that's fantastic. Well, you mentioned home delivered, obviously with Meals on Wheels. Thinking about where you're at in Chicago,
Mhm.
and unlike Michigan, I'm working out here in Minnesota. So, what are some of the what are some of your emergency things that you may have to do for whether it be blizzards or just bad snowstorms or ice storms coming in off the lake?
Yeah. So just to clarify, so we don't
Oh
actually
no,
serve in
right. You're not
in the
in
city.
Chicago, right? But
But yeah,
outside.
we do get weather, right? so, so we have, uh, and we get weather that may be different in one community than another community. So our
Hmm.
communities that are a little bit more north may be getting, dumped on snow, and the ones that are south, not so much. So we do rely on the teams that we have in place at the different sites to kind of flew us in to tell us what's happening. Is there major snowstorm? Obviously, we'd all be aware of any kind of tornado or any kind of
Sure.
event like that. And then we make a call. So our director of operations is able to kind of look at what are the schools doing? What's the report from our team? Can they get to the site so that
Hmm.
they can serve? Um, and then there are some sites that are also available because they are, a park district building, or they are they're a
Okay. Yeah.
designated place for people to go. And so in those
Right.
instances, our partners are keeping the doors open for folks.
That makes sense for those spots for sure. And speaking of the people you're serving, what it sounds like you probably have a diverse population of folks that you're serving,
Hmm.
not just geographically, but probably culturally as
Hmm.
well. What are there any things that you do specifically, towards meals or other things, volunteer activities, outreach that reach those different cultural communities?
Yeah, that is a great question, and I think we've had a real learning experience over the last year. We had opened up a cafe
Hmm.
in a home delivered site, but opened up a cafe in an area where we knew the demographic was largely Hispanic. And what we found was either our marketing wasn't correct, or there were other factors going on that we just weren't getting attendance. And so we really have to look at that and learn. There has been anecdotal stories that
Hmm.
it's just because the uh, gathering in community right now, it's a very volatile time
Sure.
for some populations, and so there's been some anecdotal conversation that may be a reason that folks are not participating. And I think that we can do a better job with our culturally appropriate meals. So we do kind of on occasion work with our caterer, and our caterer is, able to do something special, but it isn't something that we have done on a regular basis. I
Hmm.
think that's a learning too, that we need to investigate more and determine how we can give people food that they are accustomed to and feels normal.
Yeah. Okay. And when you think about the volunteers that you're working with, where are a lot
Mhm.
of your volunteers coming from? And what's there? You mentioned a little bit. There's some paid drivers as well. But what are some of the volunteer, the paid staff mix that you're working with?
Yeah. So throughout the whole footprint, we have about 725 active volunteers,
Okay.
and by that I mean our drivers and food service aides that come in to help with the kitchen aides. So they come in
Yeah.
to help serving the meals and cleaning up and decorating and setting up and
Hmm.
doing all those fun activities. A lot of bingo, right? And so we. We have found we just did this analysis that most of our volunteers are baby boomers, kind of the younger baby boomers
Hmm.
that have retired, but they really want to continue doing something, continue serving other people, and they're looking for that purpose in their life. And actually, I love this because yesterday I was at one of our area agencies on aging just sponsored a summit that was yesterday. So it was the Age Guide Summit. It was their fourth annual summit. They were talking about brain health. And they had a variety of different clinical physicians, and then also uh, researchers that
Hmm.
were talking all about these different studies that they've done on dementia and Alzheimer's, and ways to delay or prevent cognitive decline. And one of the key factors that they found, in addition to being socially engaged,
Sure.
was having a purpose in life.
Hmm.
And all the retirees that I talk to, that's a struggle at first. So when you
Yes.
leave your career, you've been doing this career for such a long time, it's part of your identity, part of who you are, and then all of a sudden you switch. And you need to find that purpose, and so it makes a lot of sense to me that we have a lot of newly retired folks that are participating as drivers.
Yeah, we've seen that here at our program, but other folks I've talked to too. You see, the age difference between the folks serving the meals and the folks getting the meals usually isn't that much, and so
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
it,
We do try to engage with younger generations as well. But of course, they're
sure.
not able to be drivers for us, and you have to have a certain number of years of driving before you can be one of our volunteer drivers. And so, just for everybody's safety, and so. But we do engage, we have high school students that come into the cafes and they are kitchen aides or they do some kind of activity. We have a number of groups that make greeting cards or special packages for the seniors, little gifts with note cards and tissues and things like that. That's actually a fantastic corporate project that happened. That happens multiple times, right? This like a company wants to do kind of a day long, morale building, teamwork kind of
Sure.
activity. And, we're so grateful when they select us. And we, try to work with them on the best type of activity that fits their needs. So high schoolers, we have our corporations.
Do you have any partnerships out with private companies or government agencies that are maybe in delivering, volunteering?
So we've had actually one that pops to mind right now in our hometown site. We had the sheriff's department actually delivering food for us. And I know that we are working on a realtors association that has expressed interest in volunteering as well, which is, fantastic because who knows the community? Well, your realtors do. So,
Right.
so that's something that's fun that we're working toward.
Are there what are some of the things you do beyond just your nutrition services? Maybe beyond just the congregate or home delivered meals. Are there other partners? Maybe it's through partnerships or on your own that you're working with seniors or folks in your community on.
Well, one of the areas that that it's kind of a new venture for us is actually partnering with healthcare providers and therapists in the community. We're really leaning into combating social isolation. And so we are, not only working with our healthcare community to kind of refer people to our cafes, but also the therapists in our communities are the ones who see people who are struggling with depression or who are struggling with one kind of mental health challenge or another. And so we've given them tools so that they can write a prescription to come to one of our cafes and enjoy a meal and enjoy a cup of coffee and enjoy some fun. So we're leaning into that. It's the social prescribing movement that's happening. I think it came out of the UK, but it's certainly coming across the US as well. And that's an area that we want to really grow.
I've not heard that before. What did you now say that again? Social
prescribing.
Social prescribing. Okay.
Yes. And so there is an organization, I think it's called like Social Prescribing USA or something like that where you can find more information. You see a lot of physicians that are prescribing go for a walk in nature or prescribing go to an art museum or listen, those are the two that I'm remembering off the top of my head. But really, our congregate dining is ready-made for social prescribing. You get food, you get friendship, you get fun, and so we're leaning into that.
Okay, well, I think that's great. That's definitely something I'll have to look into a little bit more. I think that sounds like a wonderful idea. What are some of the bigger challenges that you'd say your organization is facing right now? One of the things coming out of just a few weeks ago out of the Meals on Wheels America conference, There are a lot of common challenges that we all seem to be facing. But there are also, we all have our unique communities that we're working with as well. And sometimes those things collide. With some of the things you're looking at, maybe short-term challenges or what you're looking at long-term.
Yeah. So, I know that folks on your podcast have talked extensively about funding challenges, and of course, we're not immune to that. We are primarily funded. We work with two AAAs, and we are primarily funded through the Title 3C funding, and also a big portion is state funding as well. So, we have the volatile federal funding situation. Fortunately, Older Americans Act seems to be level.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. And then, but the state of Illinois is amazing in that they actually, Governor Pritzker invested or proposed, and then they passed an additional $8 million of funding for home delivered meals. So the state is so supportive of making sure that there's nutrition available for older adults in the state of Illinois. So it's just such a blessing.
Yeah.
So we do need to, being reliant primarily on this source of funding. One of our challenges is just diversifying our funding. Now we have very generous donors and grantors, foundations. So that is amazing. But I also think that we need to. This is new for us. It's not necessarily new for other Meals on Wheels, but we do need to explore how we can support people that are using Medicaid and that are using Medicare, and and I know those are volatile too, but I do think that we have an opportunity to serve in those different markets as well. I was going to say,
please go ahead.
I was going to say, so another real challenge that we have is actually recruiting volunteers, and then because of we have 27 different sites. I don't know how many routes we actually have, but it's a lot to actually staff with volunteers. And then we have snowbirds that don't want to deal with the weather.
Right.
When
you need the most volunteers.
Right. I think that that's going to be a challenge. I don't think that's a challenge that's going to go away. As the baby boomers right now, if we look at the stereotype, they are, very community minded. They believe in civic organizations. And then you have like my generation, the Gen X generation, and we're kind of like not joiners. So I think we have to be understanding that we're going to have to make different volunteer opportunities, make them more convenient for a type of volunteer that has a different mindset, and maybe not as much time.
Well, yeah. And it's the Gen X, I can do it myself attitude doesn't really work well with our Meals on Wheels, but it'll get there.
Yeah.
When you mentioned the state, what are you directly working, lobbying, advocating? Is there a state coalition? Is there a coalition of other organizations? All those kinds of things.
So we have amazing AAAs, and we get to work with two of the best. So Age Options, which serves suburban Cook County, and Age Guide, which serves our other three counties, but then they also expand to a few more counties as well. And they have a state association of AAAs, and that is just a powerhouse. And so when I stepped into this role about a year ago, and did not have experience with advocacy in the past, but over the last year have learned so much from these, brilliant leaders, and how to how to connect with legislators, how to make sure that they understand, what's important to their constituents, and kind of
Hmm.
pulling together information and data that would be relevant to them. That was a really fascinating part of that learning for me.
Well, speaking of the learning for you part of this,
Mhm.
what in your background brought you to the nonprofit world and eventually here to Meals on Wheels?
Yeah, so I've always worked in the nonprofit world, and I feel like at the end of the day, my work has to be more than a paycheck. It has to be contributing to somebody's life.
Hmm.
Anytime I kind of swayed away from that, I didn't feel fulfilled. And so then I built my career in fundraising and in nonprofits. And before I joined here, I was working in workforce development, trying to make sure that people had that next best job, next better job, and the training to support them in that job. And I wanted to work for Meals on Wheels because a couple years ago, my parents, my family all live out in New Hampshire, and I live out here in the Midwest. And uh, my father actually was a caretaker for my mom, and for a long time. And as it turns out, he got sick. And during his recovery, he was, not able to be her caretaker, not able to prepare meals for her. And it was a lifeline, because I couldn't stay in New Hampshire indefinitely while he was recovering, right? I
Hmm.
could go for a little bit to help out. But the fact that I had people coming to the door 5 days a week, with two healthy meals, and my mom has some dietary restrictions as well. Not a problem, not a
Hmm.
problem for Meals on Wheels. And that was just, it was peace of mind for me. They had eyes. They wouldn't drop the food off if they didn't see both of them at the
Hmm.
door. So I knew that every day somebody saw them, and was able to check in on them. And I just felt a tremendous amount of gratitude, and decided
Yeah.
that I wanted to work for Meals on Wheels.
Oh, that's great. I mean, it's you get a lot of those similar stories. Just
Yeah,
folks, especially when I know we get calls, and I'm sure you do from kids that whose parents they live in other states or whatever it may be, and
yeah, yep,
we become that those eyes and ears for them, and
yes.
it's just so important.
And I know that this isn't necessarily a unique story. One
No.
of the episodes before, I had I heard someone saying something similar. But in my 1 year here with this organization, there have been 4 stories that made it to me about how our volunteers found a client that was,
Yeah.
not responding to their door, and we got the paramedics involved, and actually, made a life-saving intervention, in a number of parts of our communities. And so, um, you don't hear about that in the news, right? And
Right.
and so it's important to kind of tell that story, that Meals on Wheels is not just food. It's also
Mhm.
that human connection, because we need it.
Yeah, I mean, we here in Minnesota, it's at least once a year we get somebody's coming delivering a meal to somebody's home in the middle of winter and the heat's not on,
Yes, yes,
and and they're not saying anything. just oh, I just put another blanket on. It's
yeah, right, right.
so it's good, but the folks are out there, and those communication lines are open to family members and caretakers around.
Exactly, exactly.
And what are some of what do you see for the future of your program? Or what are you hoping to do, and long term, short term?
Wow, yeah. So, I know that we need to take a look at that volunteer recruitment. right? And kind of come up with the new way or the new model or models that can really engage people in different ways. We are looking at all of our technology too.
Sure.
And not only just on an office type of level so that we can collaborate better, but also we are implementing Serve Tracker. So I know that's something that a lot of Meals on Wheels use. And so kind of rolling that out with our staff and our paid drivers, as well as the volunteers, or eventually the volunteers. I think that's going to help give us some real-time data.
Are they using the phone app as well when they're delivering?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so we're looking forward, we're piloting that right now in Will County, and looking forward to kind of ironing out any blips before we grow it to the rest of our service area. So volunteers, technology, I think we have a lot of opportunity for that revenue diversity that I was talking about earlier, and doing even more with social prescribing and leaning into the social connectedness part of our mission. And I would love to see us. We work with a caterer, wonderful partner, and I would love to see us supplement that with our own cooking as well, just to try to give people different options.
Yeah.
I think, that's choice and options, right? That's what baby boomers, that's certainly what Gen X expects, is the ability to make choices. And so, when we have one meal per day, and either you like that or you don't, we need to incorporate more choice into our service.
Well, it seems like so many people are so surprised when they first get Meals on Wheels that, it's not just a ham sandwich, or it's not some, it's some roast beef and potatoes. It's there's a lot of diversity in the meals and what we're trying to serve. And
I was at one of the sites this morning and we had crab salad. So
that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, if folks are listening and they want to get involved with your program, or maybe they want to send a check because they loved what you're doing.
Oh, yeah, that would be wonderful.
Or go to the website. I'm showing my age. Send a check. Go to your website. But what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I think the best way that's going to give you the most choice is actually to go to the website. It's M as in Mary, OW, F as in Frank, N as in Nancy, I.org, MOWFNI.org. And from there, you can find information on how to sign up for meals. You can find information on where all of our cafes are throughout suburban Cook, Will, Kendall, and Grundy counties. You can find out how to volunteer and actually submit a volunteer application. And you can find out how to make a contribution to the mission and actually change a lot of people's lives.
For sure. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate this. This is, every time I talk to somebody, I learn something. So I hope people out there listening are learning something too.
Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, great. And we'll check in at some point later on and see how those future plans are going.
Oh, it sounds excellent. Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again to Andrea for sharing her story and the story of Meals on Wheels for Northern Illinois with us today. I think Andrea is right on point when she talks about the importance of diversifying where our money is coming from. You never want to get caught with all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. And if you get a chance, search for Andrea's TED Talk. It's worth a watch. Please reach out to me if you have a program you'd like to hear on Behind the Meal. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Behind the Meal.